Hello and welcome to another episode of
Absolute Game of Nerd!
Yes, and as you can see for episode 69 here, I am flying solo. JP had a family engagement that popped up, so he had to take off. But with me for episode 69, we have the return of my guy, Joseph of Wolverines Comic Shop. Again, remember way back when I first got into comic books, when I transitioned from like only thinking eBay was the only place to buy. And I found some people on Instagram. Joseph was one of the very first Instagram purchasers I bought from, even though he didn't post it for sale. I just saw the pictures. But I bought a Fantastic Four 112 from him. And then eventually I also got a Superman 233 from him. But in that process, he and I started talking, become friends. We've had him on once before, so we've heard the origin story. And so we're going to kind of just get right into it and hear what's been going on. He teased me a little bit saying he's got a whole new outlook on comics. So we're going to hear all about it. So Joseph, say hello. How you doing?
Wow, that was one hell of an introduction. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Rohan and JP. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, but just thank you guys for calling me back and having me on the show. And just we have been friends. We've been friends for a long time now. Lots of DMs. So thank you. Just thank you for having me here, and I'm excited to just be here and get things going.
Absolutely. So, I mean, why don't you just give it to us right out the gate? You said, hey, I got a lot to talk about. I got a whole new outlook. Let's see. Well, let's start with what caused this evolution.
Okay, inflation. Nah, look, at the end of the day, I realized, the number of raw comic books that I had and what the overall goal was, which was I wanted to get my personal collection, the personal collection that I have been purchasing since I was 9 years old. I wanted to get it CGC,
All of it.
damn near all of it. It's something that I felt like I needed and I wanted to do, right? Based off of course, book, right? Because you just don't CGC everything.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, there was a vast majority of the collection that I wanted to CGC signature series, right? As you know, I'm a signature series guy. I really feel strongly about CGC signature series and having, the book finished off by either the creator, the artist, the writer, whatever that may be.
Or both.
And we got plenty of those in the collection. And so, over time, I also realized, a lot of this collection, I'll probably be leaving it to my family. I don't necessarily anticipate on selling everything. And so it just dawned on me, I can't do that strategy. It's not going to work. It's not economical, and it's just too much. So just to give you an idea, and I'm looking at it right now, it's kind of a little sad. There's only 2 long boxes left of raw books in the collection. When I started the Instagram channel, there was roughly, I think it was like 8 long boxes, 4 or 5 short boxes, and a short box of CGC slabs. Now what's left is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 short boxes of CGC slabs and just 2 raw long boxes left. There is next to no Wolverine raw comic books in the collection left anymore, except for the Weapon X run 72 through 84. So it's been a wild road. It's been a little sad to see the collection go, but at the same time, I've been able to acquire some series keys and grails along the way that were signed. Right.
So you're forming a consolidation in one aspect, but then essentially leveling up what you do have.
That's correct.
Now, let me ask you real quick, when did this decision come for the CGC component? Now, we don't need to get into the details of the CGC scam, like everyone's done a video on that, but I'm curious, was that before that all came out, after, during, and has that impacted your decision at all?
Before, and I want to be really clear about this, okay? People can have their own opinions, people can talk, people can run shows, people can look for, feedback. and follows and views and all this stuff, whatever's going on at CGC, at the end of the day, it's a company. And a company has flaws. Every company does. Everything that's happening or has happened at CGC, it's not something that worries me, short or long term.
Got it. No, I think
Go ahead.
I think most people are in that boat, in the sense that, like, from what I've seen, I don't think there's been a downturn in number of books being submitted. Not to mention, I mean, like, we're good buddies with Manu, who's like the main guy that broke the story. And, he also says, like, you know what, I'm a business. I got to do things that are going to maximize my business. And that involves CGC. So he still, will use them. So no, I think that's totally fair. I was just kind of curious how that came about. I do want to ask, so with that in mind, since you're a big signature guy, now that they're going to go into the business of verifying signatures, are you still solely want to do the witness stuff, or are you now okay adding verified signatures?
I am so disappointed by the number of Raw comic books that I let go, because I personally did not want to send that book off to CBCS. These are books. I think I got my very first signed book when I went to the mall. I was 12 years old. So from 12 into roughly about 17 years old, I would go and meet Luis and Joe and JR, Jr., Walt. I'd meet all these guys, I didn't know who or really what they were at 13, 14, 15 years old. But, I still have their books today, some of them. And as you know, there was an unboxing where I sent my very first CBCS authorized signature over them, because I'm like, all right, these are from Joe and Luis, and I want to go get them, graded and stuff like that. So I was really bummed out, but I think it's great. I have 1 or 2 books left, and the CBCS books that I have now signed, I'm definitely going to send those in to CGC, because I personally don't believe in CBCS. Man, what a great opportunity they had to capitalize on what was happening. And they were like, I don't know, like a dead duck.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, no, I think the CGC authentication, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I hope it works out. I hope obviously there's going to be bad actors, in the community or outside of the community that are going to try and submit books that they signed themselves or had, AI process or something like that. And hopefully CGC has the things in place to make sure that it doesn't get affected.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
We'll just go with your Wolverine guy. Let's just go, you have a Hulk 181, and let's just say one is a witnessed signature by Roy Thomas, and then one is a verified signature of Roy Thomas. Would you value the witness one more, or is at this point, it's like SIG is a SIG, it's authenticated, I'm all good?
That's a really good question. It's not something I ever considered, but if I had to choose which one I'm going to buy, I'd like to buy the witness one.
100%. Yeah. Like and the thing too, right? Like if there wasn't a difference, they wouldn't annotate that on the label, right? Like even CBCS does that. They'll write verified, or they'll also write witnessed if it happens to be a witness one they've done. I
should look up. I wonder if I can look up CBCS sales of Signature Series books and find out if there's a difference between verified and witness. Like if the common collector even, because it's a really great question. I never thought of it, so I don't even necessarily know. I mean, on the surface, I would say yes. I mean, but why does it make a difference if it's verified and it's supposed to be his signature, right?
I think there's always the slight chance you can say that, like, I mean, the world is seen great forgers, right? Like, I'm sure there's some people that have got Stanley's signature down pat, and if they got it down pat and they sent it in, again, I don't know what the authentication process is.
Yeah, me neither.
But I'm assuming it's some kind of analysis of similarity of signatures to other signatures that have been seen. And so if someone's a really good forger, I have to believe that someone could sneak some in there, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we all know that is going to at least be attempted, and some may get through. That's just kind of the risk you take. And so I think hence why when it's witnessed, it's like, no, they had eyes on so-and-so and they put and then they authenticated it by watching, and then now I have the book. So there's no so on witness, you can say confidence level is 100%. On a verified, maybe you say it's 96%. I don't know. And is that to the average collector, though? I imagine across the long haul, probably not. I was just kind of curious to you personally. And I think there probably will be some people that do look at it differently. I mean, I would think about it like I personally don't care about a newsstand compared to a direct. I just want the book. But some people are into that difference. So I could imagine some people would be into it.
I'll tell you this. I never considered buying a CBCS signed book before CGC made their announcement. Now, like I look at those books because CBCS just goes for a cheaper price than CGC. So,
100%. 100%.
If I'm looking at a Stan Lee, witnessed, Daredevil CBCS, and it's selling for like $3,000 when I know like at a 4.0 should be going for just 4,000 itself. And then I can take that and I'll send that off to CGC and they'll verify it and encase it. Man, that's like a home run right there.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I agree 100%. Like, I would never personally spend my own money to grade with CBCS just because of that exact. And we have examples all the way down. Like, I have seen on the small end, like, random book 9.8, CGC $100, and then I've seen it in the comments. We also have a CBCS 9.8, $90. So you see it on the small end. And then just recently, there was a House of Secrets 92, 9.8 CBCS. It sold for like 58,000 last week. And I think previously the CGC 9.8 relatively recently sold for like 80 something thousand. I mean, like it goes from the cheap books to the big books. Like there is a large gap. And just for that amount, that reason alone, like, I don't wish any ill will on CBCS, but like, why would you choose to leave money on the table?
Yeah.
Good point. Take the company out of it. You made a decision to grade the books you're keeping, with the exception of a few raws. Why? What was that? Why? What is the reasoning behind that?
Say it one more time. I got distracted.
I was just saying, one of the decisions you made was to slab the books that you are going to keep for the long run. Why is it important to you that you grade and slab the books that you want to keep?
Yeah, I think just encasing it and making sure that it's safe, the fact that, some of these books have been with me 30, 40 years, right? And they're in the condition that they're in. It's like so impactful to me to just get it encased, get it safe, keep it there. And then I feel like it then really becomes part of the personal collection. I can't read it. I can't touch it. The only thing that can really happen to it is if my house burns down, which is totally possible, water damage, or, I drop it in a shipment or something like that. So yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, because ideally I just want to downsize this whole thing and just keep like the books that mean something to me, whether they be keys or grails. A lot of the books that I'm keeping they're just my books, right? And then obviously, you saw that unboxing with the Hulk 180, the Iron Man and Submariner 1, the Marvel Premiere 15, all those great books, and really, really, really high grade. That would not have been possible without like saying, you know what, this collection's got to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think for most people that have large, I think the long-term goal for almost all collectors is eventually some form of consolidation. Like, because also at the end of the day too, right? We all have these lives that, may involve families. And then, let's just say the kids grow up, like you downsize, like you can only carry around 10 long boxes or whatever it is you have, like for so long, right? Like it does take its space, and there's a cost to that. And so like, and I think also in general too, like you get to this point where it's like, I want to enjoy what I keep. And if you have thousands of books, are you really enjoying them when they're just like stacked in boxes? Because you can only display so many, you can only take the time to look at so many. It's like a consolidation is just, I think, the natural evolution of almost all collectors. So then with that, in terms of leveling up what it is you're keeping, I always tell people I'm a first appearance collector first and foremost. Like that by far and away is everything I am looking for, right? From there, I have a small amount of premier titles of like big run, like Silver Surfer 1, for example, right? Or like the absolutely legendary covers like Batman 227, I would say. What is it when you're leveling up? What are you looking for?
Yeah. So right off the bat, you nailed it. Point number one, first appearances. First appearances are key. Obviously, you saw over the last couple of months, it's just been I've been Bronze Age, right? Let's just clear out the Bronze Age. If we clear that section out, then I can move on to kind of something else. And I've been dabbling back and forth between Silver Age, Modern Age, but for the most part, I feel like I'm in a really good spot right now with my Bronze Age collection. I love it. I owe you guys all a top 10. A top 10.
Yeah, we want to see
Bronze Age is coming. And then I think from there, what I like, and this is something me and Manu have spoken about, is just those rarity books, those one-off books. So like, for instance, one of the books that I was able to get my hands on when I had my Wizard subscription growing up is a book, or I don't know if it's a book or it's a universe. It's called Unity 2000. And this is during the time when, all the Marvel artists and some of the DC artists were doing like Valiant Comics and stuff like that. So this is Unity 2000, and this was done by Joe Rubinstein, Jim Starlin, and Jim Shooter. And so that's a book that I was able to, like, at the time, I didn't know anything about it, but when I first started down this journey, I'm like, oh man, that's a book that ain't nobody got. And if they do, they didn't take good care of it. So it might not be worth anything any day, but to me, that's a great book. That's Jim Starlin, Jim Shooter's, and first opportunity, Joe Rubinstein, for them to try and do it on solo. And it's a preview book, and all their characters are on the front cover. It's a really unique book. And so I got that book. I sent that book off before I even knew what pressing was. This is like, I remember what we had this conversation. And it came back a 9.2, signed by Jim Starlin. About 2-3 months ago, when they announced, the 50th anniversary, I'm sending it back to CGC for Joe Rubinstein now to sign it. I'm going to get it pressed. I'm going to get it clean. I'm thinking it's definitely going to grade bump. But like unique one-off books, that you just never heard of. You don't know what they are. So there's one specific box that I have, and it's a magazine box, but it's a short box. And in this box is like, and I don't know, I don't recall the title, but it's the first time that the MC logo was ever printed on the front of a comic book. The first published Marvel comic book. Nobody talks about it. Nobody knows what that is. I did a did you know about it? Nobody even cared. So I have that book. That book took forever for me to get my hands on and find it.
Wait, what book is it exactly?
Let me go get it. It's right here. It's right. Let me get it. It's a really cool book. It's like I don't want to say it's a journey into mystery, but it's one of those. There it is. Oh my God, it is a journey into mystery. So this is, go figure. This is episode 69 of Game of Nerds. This is issue number 69 of Journey into Mystery.
Look at that. And show, point out what is actually the first that they did. Look at that. Yeah.
You see it? Yeah. This is the first official published comic book by Marvel Comics with the MC logo on the front. There was two of them. It was this and I told you I just had the flu. My brain is like empty right now. It's a glamour magazine. I forget the name of it. Damn, I need to do another did you know, but yeah, this copy is pretty solid. It's
Nice. And so
19, I want to say
what's
1962,
okay, I was gonna
61.
say what's the date on that?
Yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
not gonna open it up. But like 19, I want to say it's got to be 61, 62. I mean, I could look it up on the computer
Now,
real
do you
quick.
know? I'm curious if you've looked at slabbed versions of that book. Does CGC annotate that it's the first like book with that MC on it?
No, and I'm gonna make sure that it's a fact that they do because Marvel fandom points it out, Key Collector points it out. Um, I mean, it's a part of history. See, the other thing I like about is comic books are history, right? That's something
100%.
Darren Watts talks about all the time from the Fantastic Collection. And sorry about that. April 6th, 1961.
Mm.
And it says here, first appearance of Corilla. Let's see. Excuse me. First initiation of MC Marvel Comics publication. And that's it. That's what it
Huh.
is.
Now, how did you come across that? Did you just happen to find that fact and they're like, I'm gonna go get this book, or did you know that, or
No, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. So it was. It was this book. What I went searching for like what was the first like outside of like 1939's Marvel Comics. I went and searched this, and this book had come up as the first time the MC
Mhm.
logo was on the front. And I had previously bought, I got two of these. The guy that sent it to me decided he wanted to crack it out, press it, didn't want to keep it, and I purchased from a really long time ago. And there's a guy on Instagram, his name is Ismo Designs. It was he and I that were bouncing this. So we each bought one of these, and we realized this is not the first one. This is the second. This is the
Uh-huh.
second. So there's two books specifically that were published on the same date, in the same year, same month, same everything. That is both labeled as the first time the MC logo was on it. That is considered the second time the MC logo was ever put on a comic book.
Huh.
And that's it. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
That's
I
a
gotta
cool
find.
fact.
And the thing is I was able to find this journey into Mister. I wonder if there's any on like eBay or something like that. And he was able to find the Glamour magazine, because the Glamour magazine is like, that thing is like a unicorn.
Huh.
And he found it for like $45. I think this thing raw in the past I've seen it go for like 400 or 500. I got it for a good price on auction.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
That's a cool fact that I had no
absolutely.
idea about. So
Yeah, so those are like little things that I try and like look for in like comic books, things that people aren't necessarily like buying or like checking out or seeing. Me too. I love double covers, love errors. Those things can be expensive. So the off chance that you come across one, you definitely try and hold on to it. That's for sure.
yeah, the double covers are definitely cool. I mean, I saw recently there was a TMNT one, but it was a third print. I think it had 7 covers on it. With
7.
something like that. It was on like Elite
Now
or
that's
Grails or something like that, and I was like, "Dang!" And I've heard of it. I've only seen double, but I've definitely heard that they're like. I know someone that said that they've seen like a 6 cover, and I've seen a triple on Instagram, but I've only seen a double in person.
okay. So I found one. I found one on Instagram, on eBay, and it's a CGC. It's a 3.0, and it says first. It does say first MC. Can't even read that, man. This guy took a horrible picture. It does. They do note it. They do note it. I've
Good.
never in the past. I had not seen, and there's actually quite a few of them. 180. This one looks like it's been through a weed whacker. $87. That guy sounds like a moron. All due respect to his pricing. 225 for a 5.0. I would like to think that this thing is at least a 6.0 for sure. And I think it's much better than that. I'm really excited to get it pressed and clean one day. It's been sitting in my collection for a long time.
Nice. Have you gotten into the cleaning and pressing, or are you sending that off?
Not doing it, not going there. It's too much. I would love to, but it's just too much. I can't do it. I'll leave it up to I'll leave it to Magic Pressing, and the Palm Beach Presser. Leave it to those guys to take care of it.
Yeah, and then not to mention, like, we're talking about space again, the equipment, like, it's all too much for me.
Agreed.
Yeah. So let's go back then. You said that you were able to pick up some fairly big grails with this consolidation that you've done. What are some of the recent ones you've got? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I think I kind of mentioned a few of them already. It was the Star Wars. I got the Star Wars one in the 9.4 signed by Roy. It was the Marvel premiere, the first appearance. So obviously Star Wars, first appearance of Luke Skywalker, all those guys. First appearance of Iron Fist.
Yeah.
In a 9.6 signed by Roy Thomas. The Luke Cage Hero for Hire, signed by Roy Thomas. In an 8.5. The 9.4 Iron Man and Submariner. Signed by Roy Thomas, and then the Hulk 180 in an 8.5, signed by Roy Thomas.
That's your guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just kind of all happened that way, you know. It was, I was in the process. There were a few that I missed out on. I did personally want, I wanted a Conan. I wanted a Conan 1. I wanted a Ghost Rider 1. I wanted a Marvel Spotlight. Roy Thomas is not getting any younger, and I just
did he also
just
do, or isn't his last signing happening, or has happened, or something at CGC?
So he's having a signing at CGC on it's not April the 19th, but the close date is April the 19th for the 50th anniversary Wolverine special. And man, I really wanted to get one of my Wolverine #1 signed by all four of those guys, but man, the price tag on that was just too much. I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I sent in just a small handful of books, like I mentioned, the Joe Rubinstein, and I was able to get my hands on a Ghost Rider #1.
Nice.
In an 8.5. So that's there right now. It's already been cleaned. It's already been pressed. It's going to get cleaned. It's going to get pressed again by CCS Pressing. It would be really great if I got a grade bump on that one.
Yeah, nice bump to 9 would be sweet. Let me ask you this: when it comes to loving the signatures, would anyone that's involved in the book, you'd be fair game to sign, or are there only certain creators and artists that you like that you want them signing?
Yeah, so I'm not going after like Scotty Young's autograph. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, for me specifically, it's just kind of
is it a history thing?
Yeah, I'm going for the history, and I'm going for the guys that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, Roy, Joe, Luis, Walt, JR. Who else is out there? I'm looking up on the wall right now. Shooter, Bob,
what about Mike Zach?
I keep Mike Zach. My God, John Beatty. Did I say Shooter already?
Yeah, you said him already.
Jurgens.
Oh yeah, Dan Jurgens.
Yeah, and Bob Layton, and that's that's pretty much it. I guess the guys and girls.
Yeah, no, I think that makes. I think that makes. I was more curious. Like, are you going all the way down to like the colorists or the colors, the inkers, or?
No, I'm sticking just to writers, artists, and really creators. Like at the end of the day, so Ghost Rider was created by Roy Thomas. Roy Thomas didn't have anything to do with Ghost Rider #1. Yeah, I don't care. Like he created Ghost Rider. That's Ghost Rider #1. That's significant to me. Roy Thomas can sign that book. Go for it, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people take that same kind of liberty with like Stan Lee. Like Stan Lee signed a bunch of ASM 300s, and it's like he wasn't necessarily involved, but he definitely created Spider-Man. So
Sure.
yeah. Yeah, awesome. No, I think, like I said, I think the evolution you're undertaking is a common one, and I think it's a fun one because you really get to hone in on what it is that truly brings you the joy in this hobby, right? Like when you're kind of collecting everything, it's like you're kind of all over the place, but then when you really kind of sharpen that pencil, I find it a lot of fun. Like when you really dial in what it is you're chasing and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been it was a hard decision to make. And like I was mentioning, like the raw books are pretty much almost gone. I mean, I'd love to get the CGC slabs down to 4 or 5, graded short boxes. Right now there's 10 of them. So I've been slowly, all right, I don't really need this one anymore, and I definitely don't need this one, and this doesn't, full part of the plans. Like I recently just listed a what if Wolverine killed the Incredible Hulk, right? 31,
That
and
book's
it's
right
a
behind you.
newsstand. Yeah, oh, that's right, and it's a newsstand, and it's a 9.4, and it's white pages, and I've always loved the book. It is just such a great book. I've had it for a long time, and it just doesn't fit the mold, so it's got to go. And that
Yeah.
was a tough decision.
Yeah, I mean, I similarly, like recently I've kind of decided like I specifically want to go. I'm almost completely out of copper now. There are a few books that like New Mutants 87, X-Men 266, and Wolverine 1 are like the three that come to mind because I really loved those as a kid, so I wanted to keep those. But like other than that, like I've completely gone out of it's for me now. I'm focusing I've got most of the bronze I want. Like you said, like you did, I've kind of got where I wanted. Like I think maybe one other book I would consider looking at getting one day would be like Werewolf by Night 32, the first Moon Knight. But otherwise, I'm fairly happy with where the bronze is at, and I'm almost now I'm dedicated to silver. So
Yeah, I mean, so that's basically my next step right now. So I think outside of wanting, like a Conan one and things like that, I think I'm on that verge right now. I'm on that cusp of just transitioning, and it's just all Silver Age, right?
mhm.
Even, one book I still don't have is a Hulk 181, and it's like I with the way the market is and where it's at and I don't even know if I'll ever even pick that book up. It just has never really come across or been like, and I'm a Wolverine guy, right? So you would think I would own that, but to me, the book that matters to me is Hulk 180, and I got one in an 8.5, and I'm good with that. And now it's to start switching the focus to a Daredevil one, an Avengers one,
Yeah.
an X-Men one, things like that. If we can solidify a few blue chips into the personal collection, I think I'll be pretty sad and make me really happy. And I
Yeah,
think that's a
no.
goal for many of us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think yeah, like my dream is like that kind of that grail run of those Silver Age, like you said, Daredevil 1, Avengers 1, X-Men 1, TOS 39, Jim 83, all the hitters. Like I feel you on that.
Yeah,
No, I think that's a ton of fun. Yeah. Awesome.
because
Where are you? Oh, good.
no, I was gonna say, I'm thinking, man, I wonder if I had those, then I would definitely just sell everything. Sell everything else. Graded sign doesn't matter. Just get rid of everything because at the end of the day, if you got those blue chips, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, like personally, right? Like I think my dream PC, even though it has those books, I still think in terms of like a quantity, like is under 50. I think it's like 50 is kind of like the top end, right? Like, and I only right now have, I don't even know if I have 40 comic books, but the ones that I have, I'm really happy with. But yeah, no, totally feel you, right? Like as you get more of those like silver shield, then like the ones on the other end of the spectrum are like, well, I guess I don't need that one as much anymore. And I totally get that.
So, like, I think when I first got my giant size X-Men #1 and I got the Silver Surfer #1 at the same time, both signed, I was like, I don't really feel like the rest of my collection really matters anymore. It's just like all the other books are like, eh. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a modern age first appearance. Good for you. I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of modern age, I actually would be very happy to own an Ultimate Fallout 4 and an Edge of Spider-Verse 2. But the way I look at it is like, there's no need to commit, because those aren't cheap books and they shouldn't be cheap books. They're big characters, big first appearances, but like those are plenty out there. Like I'm never going to not be able to get one. And so I'd rather focus on, like I said, going deeper than folks like those can come way down the line and they'll be fine. So, yeah. Where are you? So as you're trimming down, where are you selling these all off?
Oh man. eBay. eBay. All day eBay.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't want to. I tell everybody, even in like, oh, can I offer you? Yeah, you can, but why don't you find me somewhere else, right? Because you can't tell people on eBay, hey, go
Well,
find me on
you know how you do it?
How do you do
You
it?
open up your do you have an iPhone?
Yep.
So you open up your Apple Notes and you type that message. Do you want to do this deal over Instagram or something like that? And then you screenshot it and then you post that picture to your messages.
Really?
Yeah,
I never knew that. That's how that works?
because like the AI that if you say like, do you want to do this offline? Like it'll catch that and flag it. But if it's a picture, it can't read it. And so that's how I've got it. That being said, like
I did not know that.
I'm blown away how often on times like when there's something on eBay that I want, but it's like, let's take this offline and that way we both save each other. Like you're gonna still come out with more money than after the fees. I'm gonna save money, in a lot of aspects, getting a better deal, maybe a better deal on shipping, no tax, that kind of thing. And so many people are like, no, I get there's like a security level, but I feel like if that's the case, like we could do this PayPal guests and services, like you got protection. And plus, if I'm buying, I'm sending you the money first. It's not like you're going to send me the item and then I'll be like, okay, I'm happy with this. Here's the money. You know what I mean? So I'm always amazed at how few people do want to, but there have been a few that I've been able to do that. But yeah, you use that screenshot and
Okay.
and
Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. I mean, look, eBay's great. I mean, it's just so huge. And as you know from the last time I was on here, international plays a really big part in my shipping. It's decreased quite a bit since recessions and inflation and all this other stuff. Domestic has taken over because the last time I told you, I think it was like 60-70% of 80% of my business was all international versus domestic, and so that's flipped. And at the end of the day, yeah, it's just weird to me why people want to pay taxes on something that they see. And it would help them out, it would help me out, but they just don't get it. But now that I know that, I will put in a screenshot. I thought it was like pretty clear. Most of the time you're just like, no. And vice versa. When I go and buy something, kind of the same thing, like, hey, do you have a social account? Right? And they're like, no, I'll do business here. Okay, fine. I mean, could have just saved you 15-20% on your commissions and you could have saved me money on taxes. Appreciate it.
Not to mention, like, you think about it, right? Like, let's just say you have an item that's $100, right? If you sell that on eBay, what do you get back? $80, $85 or something like that?
Correct.
Right? Yeah. But me as the buyer, I may be paying $100 plus the tax. So we're now like $115, $120, right? Depending on what state you live in. Right. And I may just be like, hey, how
plus
about
the shipping, right?
Yeah,
plus
exactly.
The shipping, you got another 10, anywhere between maybe $10, $20 for shipping. Now all of a sudden your $100 book is like $140 book.
Exactly.
And
right.
all we had to do was just do this offline. Meanwhile,
and I could say offline, and I could say, hey, how about I just do $100 shipped, right? You get all $100, maybe you spend $8 on shipping. You come out $92 and you're still ahead of the 85 that you would have gotten in eBay. And I saved myself $50. You saved yourself, a few bucks. Like I feel like it's a win-win.
I'll tell you, one or two things always happens when you come to Instagram or you just come offline and buy. You never end up paying for the price of that book that's listed on eBay, and or you never pay for shipping. So one of those two things happens all the time because if you're coming to me, I mean, I'm only putting that price on that book because I have to pay 15%. It's
Mm-hmm.
usually, sometimes it's around 18% total. So it's
Mm-hmm.
15% right off the bat, no questions asked. And then if you promoted that listing or you had something involved in that listing, that's usually another 2 to 3. But what a lot of people don't know is that, when eBay takes their fee, they take the fee even on your shipping.
I
So
know.
they're getting paid on everything you do on that listing, including the listing itself. I think the listing itself costs like what, $1.50, $2, to actually have the listing once it gets sold. So yeah, it's look great. But yeah, if people would just understand that, they would get themselves a hell of a better deal,
Yeah,
and
I mean, when
everyone
it when
would
it
win.
comes when it comes to comic books, like I don't even go like sure, every once in a while you're gonna find a good deal on eBay, but like but I just enjoy when you buy on Instagram, for example, like what happens? You and I become friends. Here we are again, sitting down to talk for another hour, like and loving it. Like this is what happens. Like it's a warmer transaction. You make relationships. Plus, like I find like once you get to know people, it's easier to make deals. They know what you're looking for. Hey, Ron, weren't you looking for this? I got
Sure.
one coming in. Like there's just it to me. It's just like the benefits are endless almost, and it's like on eBay, none of that happens.
None of that happens. That's the other thing. It's so weird. Like, these eBay sellers that, and some of them, whether they have 500 sales or tens of thousands of sales, there's like no thank you. There's no like in
Hmm.
each one of my packages, right? You get Wolverines comic shop, thank you, QR code, you get your sticker, you get a thank you. I'd say 90% of the time I'm submitting like a free book. Like someone just bought like a Donald Duck book from me. Okay. I'm like questioning. I'm like, okay, what free book should I give them? And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, everybody loves Cable. So we'll give them the second printing of Cable's first appearance, right? And it's like, I don't even know if he's gonna like that. But at the end of the day, damn, he just got a second appearance of Cable for free. Like
Yeah.
that's cool. I'll never hear from the guy. They won't say thank you. It's so weird to me. And then you have all these other guys that just do nothing. So at the end of the day, I just try to provide an experience. I try it and build a relationship, but it just doesn't work. I don't know what's going on in today's day
Well,
and
now you
age,
got that
Rohan.
screenshot technique. You're good to go.
For sure, for sure, for
Yeah. Yeah.
sure.
What else is
So
going on? Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say. I mean, besides that, Shortbox, all the listings are up there on Shortbox. I just took part in Shortbox's first ever auction, so I sent them a handful of books, and some of my books will be featured in their next coming auctions. I was actually supposed to have one book featured in the auction that they have running right now for Amazing Spider-Man, but my package got lost in the mail.
Oh,
And in the month of April. It's been found, so it made it to a location. So yeah, Shortbox is on the up with these auctions. I'm
wait. What
hoping
are
they'll
the? I
work
don't
out.
even know. What are the short box auctions?
So what they're doing is basically once or twice a week, they're running themed auctions. So right now it's Amazing Spider-Man, and so it runs for like 3 4 days. And usually it's just like a list of like 50 books, all mostly all keys. And the auction right off the bat dictates to you what is the fair market value of this book. So let's just take, for example, I don't know, like a Spider-Man #3, and let's just say it's a 3.0, and I'm just going to make up numbers because I have no idea what the cost is. But let's say the fair market value for a 3 is $2,000 to $3,000. So that means the people that are going to be bidding on that understand that, okay, I, I not to overbid, basically, not to be like, for instance, did you see recently that 9.8 what is it, 300 that went for like
Yeah, yeah,
$28,000
yeah.
that
I
was
did
signed
see
by
that.
T. Okay, so Shortbox would say like, okay, the fair market value of this book, and again I'm making up a number, is 10 grand, not $28,000. Don't be a moron. So at the end of the day, Shortbox is upholding what it is they do, and they are an app for the collector. And so
Now,
I
is
took
is
part
there
in
a,
it.
is there a minimum? Like, let's just say fair market, they
Yes.
listed 1,000 and it's like your book's at 400, it's like, oh boy.
Well, so so here's the thing. First off, the minimum of like a fair market value book that they want is basically $100, right? Just kind of obviously it makes sense because once shipping is involved, sometimes Shortbox actually loses money. You'd be surprised. And so at the end of the day, and they told me this. They're like, Joe, look, Joseph, you're sending in signature series books. We don't know how the collector values CGC signature series books. We all know they don't. I mean, I personally do anyway. Nobody understands the value of, well, most don't understand the value of a signature. And so they say, if you're thinking that you're going to get, let's say, $200 for this book, you may only get 100. And so if you submit a book and the book is, let's say, fair market value of like $900 and you have a Stanley and Todd McFarlane signature on it and you expect that book to go for $1,500, $1,600, most likely it is not. And so we cannot protect you. It's an auction style. If you send us a Spider-Man 1 and the book is listed at $6,000 and it goes for $1,000, so that has not happened at all. The auctions that they've been running has been going on for about, I'd say 2-3 months now. I did try to buy a couple books off of auction, and they all keep going for either at or slightly below fair market value. So I think, the collectors are out there and Shortbox is doing a really cool thing, something different.
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, to be perfectly honest, like I've never bought anything off Shortbox.
Oh man, you're making a huge mistake.
What? Tell me now. It's funny because we were talking about this with a couple other people the other day, and because Shortbox is essentially a consignment platform where the consignee sets their price, correct?
Yeah. So I have my storefront, and my storefront has all my books listed there, and I listed the books for the price that I wanted to list them for. And so what Shortbox does is they have a green, yellow, and red.
I do like that.
And so it indicates to the buyer and the seller, you either overprice this book, you underprice this book, or you price this book fairly. And then obviously, the buyer can come in, negotiate, send offers, communicate, things like that. And at the end of the day, when you find one of my books, okay, this is a Wolverines comic shop book. I can go and talk to him. I can send him an offer. Whatever the case may be, I can go run on eBay because basically everything that's on eBay is definitely priced higher than Shortbox because Shortbox doesn't have all those extra fees and things like that.
Yeah.
Plus, there's no hiding. There's no hiding on Shortbox. So I mean,
I wasn't aware you could message the buyer or the seller, excuse me, on Shortbox, which is good to know.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I like it. I think it's a great app. We'll see how this auction goes, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, right on. What else is going on in the collecting world for you?
Oh, what else is going on in the collecting world? So, as you know, fantasticcollection.com recently launched their website. The first day of launch, I just wanted to go and see what they had. Right? They just launched.
You've bought a few things from them, I've seen.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I go on there and I see a book, right? I mean, you recently picked up this book, right?
The annual, yeah.
And this is a book that wasn't really part of what I was doing. It's not something that I necessarily was looking for. And so, I just came across it and I had never seen the price before like that. And I was like, well, if I don't buy it, somebody else is going to buy it. And so I bought it. I'm pretty sure it was their first sale. Darren Watts cannot confirm nor deny that the first person to buy from them was Wolverine's Comic Shop.
But
I personally did not see because the first day and the first couple of weeks when they launched, every book that got sold, they put a little sign there that said sold. And that book stayed on there for about 3-4 days and then eventually dropped off. So when I first launched, I went on, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, holy shit. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to buy that. So I bought it and it immediately said sold. And I was like, am I the first person to buy from Fantastic Collection? And then I came across this sucker, and I was like, again, if I don't buy that, somebody else is gonna buy it.
Wait, what is that book though? I don't know that book.
Okay, so this is Valiant.
Yeah.
This is Valiant. Okay, so this is Valiant Comics. So this is Ray, RAI, number 0, Valiant, November 1992. It is from the Fantastic Collection pedigree, and this is the first appearance of Bloodshot, origin and first appearance of the new Ray.
All right.
And this is the story, and the character created by Bob Layton. I can't even read that because I'm getting old. It was a Bob Layton story, Jim Shooter cover. David, I can't even read that. I don't know why they made it so small. Anyway, again, this goes back to what I was saying when the guys in the 90s tried to go out on their own and create their own comic book line. And so when I saw this, look, at the end of the day, I think, like a modern age book, I had one of these previously. I was like, that's going for a great price. It is the only Fantastic Collection pedigree of Ray. I'm going to pick that up. And so I did.
Now, real quick, they're not a pedigree. They're something else, right? What is it called? What do they designate it? Because I know pedigree, you have to have original owner, which a lot of their collection is not.
Well, so, unfortunately, Darren Watts, I forget his father's first name, my apologies. He inherited his father's collection. Yeah. And so
but like even his dad didn't buy like the books off. Like I think for a pedigree, you have to be the first owner of the book. And his dad, his dad collected, he's got books that are way older than when he collected. So like those wouldn't qualify for a pedigree.
Province.
That's what it is. A province. Yes. There you go. Province. That's what they called it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, we had Darren on the show. I've talked with him numerous times since. I think he's a very nice guy, great guy. I always enjoy chatting with him here and there when I do. And so, yeah, no, I think that's awesome that you found their site and have been having a little fun on there.
Dale Watts. His father's name was Dale Watts. Dale and Darren. I don't know why I forgot
that. So then one thing I did want to ask you is, obviously we know you're Wolverine, X-Men, right? I'm curious, have you been watching the new X-Men 97?
Dude, why do we have to wait a week every single time the episode ends? Hey,
I'm gonna watch episode 6 after we get off of here.
Well, I mean, I was actually thinking about this today, and I'm like, but how can they just kill him? I'm like, how can he just be dead? I'm like, Magneto too. I'm like, where does the story go from here, right? And are they truly dead? We don't know, right?
We don't know. And now let's just say this: you've had a week and a half, people. If you haven't watched episode 5, too bad. It's spoilers out there.
F off. Yeah, I mean, look. At the end of the day, it was by far what I believe to be one of the greatest episodes in the entire X-Men animated series.
Because I would go further than that. I would say episode 5 was better than 90% of the MCU and better than even a lot of the good stuff in the end. I thought episode 5 was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't expect that.
Yeah,
you just don't expect that. And
what I really loved about it, like what I've been disappointed in the MCU shows. Now, again, obviously the last couple years with movies has also been kind of disappointing, but in general, my biggest gripe with the shows that they've produced is that there are no stakes, no significance. There's just like nothing matters. Like it's just kind of a lame story. And episode 5 gave me everything I wanted with like actual stakes. And I thought it was, not to mention the writing. And it was like, I even loved like that scene with Cyclops that when he said like, if we were like you, then you wouldn't be here, to that reporter. And then how it ended on the last line of Rogue saying, I can't feel you. I mean, it's just brilliant.
So that's what I was gonna tell you. When the screen goes black
Ugh,
and you hear her say that, I was just like, oh, like because that that's her whole existence, right? Is um
feeling.
not being not
Yeah.
being able to feel people. And now she has that opportunity. She's finally touching him and she can't feel him.
Yeah.
Like
It's,
that the impact of that was that tore me up inside a little bit.
yeah. I mean, I'm very curious, like, are they gonna just do, like, some kinda, like, time travel thing or multiverse thing to bring him back? I mean, I hope they don't just kind of erase it because, like, it really hit. Um, and I also too, I will say too, when Gambit got stabbed and he's, like, hanging there, in my mind, I was like, "Could he then charge up this big thing?" And then it happened like that. That's one of my favorite things about the show is they are not holding back on showcasing the full power of these characters, right? Which is something the original show, as much as I loved it, it really kind of kept handcuffs on like actually displaying their full scope of their power. This cartoon is not doing that, and I love that.
It's been really cool. It's been really cool, fun, and exciting to watch these guys unleash their full potential.
Yeah.
Because that I was like, oh, like wow, that's wild. And it probably something we all ever thought about. Can Gambit physically charge up an entire being? Because all we ever see him usually play with cards. Sometimes he'll charge this, maybe a wall, maybe a door. And now we have like a multi megaton machine, and he
Yeah.
destroys this thing essentially by dying, but by himself.
Yeah. I mean, I never even before he charged up that bean, he did a couple things where I was like, I didn't know Gambit was that powerful. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it definitely makes the original animated series cast look like a bunch of posers.
I mean,
Uh,
even like the episode before with Jubilee, like in the original animated series, it's like, dude, her powers are so lame. It's just like some
so lame.
fireworks, like that fireworks that like may tickle you. And then like this one, she was like blew up a sentinel's head and things. I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive to see her future self. And she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I can do that. Yeah, you can do a whole lot more." And I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my God, she is powerful." Yeah, because you always found like Jubilee is like just like the cheesy teenager that like has sparklers from her hands.
Yeah,
And it's just
exactly. I will say, being, your with your name here, one thing that is surprising. Now, I'm not saying this is a complaint. It's just more of a shock to me that we're 5 episodes in. Again, I'm going to watch 6 tonight after we get off here. They have really put almost zero screen time for Wolverine. And
zero screen time.
I'm wondering, is that like because it's shot me like Wolverine being, next to Spider-Man, probably the most popular character in Marvel, and to not showcase it is a surprise to me. I'm kind of curious and again, I've enjoyed like I'm not saying that they need to like, but it's just been kind of a surprising aspect to it.
Yeah, I'll say like as an avid Wolverine fan and stuff like that, like it didn't even necessarily dawn on me,
Hmm.
like you just I
Well, that's
would
the thing.
just
That's a
I
function of how good it's been.
exactly because I think the storytelling and the deep feelings it although we're watching a cartoon, we've grown up with these characters, we collect these characters, we like these characters, and they make you actually feel for them. And it's just a cartoon. It's not even like in the realm of close possibility of ever being real. But um, because they make it so situational, you feel for them. And yeah, Wolverine is just kind of there. I would almost think if he, at this point so far in the series, if he was embedded more, I don't think it would flow well. I think he would screw things up because the storytelling has been really good.
Yeah. Yeah, very likely. Now, for all we know, we're going to turn on episode 6 tonight. It's going to be a pure Wolverine episode after talking about it, but we'll see.
They said, what did he say? He said like eight through 10 is like award winning. He's like, if you thought 5 was anything, wait until 8 through 10. And I'm like, what? How much more can you play with my emotions already?
Yeah. And it's great too that thought has been universal. Like I haven't seen one person who has watched episode 5 and not thought differently. You know what I'm saying? Like that's incredible.
And by the way, I love that they introduced Forge. I love that they introduced Forge.
Oh, I mean, when it comes down to it, like I'm all about like all the X-Men characters. Like, and as a kid, like when they had the episodes that had Colossus, I got excited. When the episodes with Archangel, I got excited. And it's like I only want Nightcrawler was in episode 5. Like I'm all for bringing them all together, like every Psylocke and Colossus and Archangel, Nightcrawler.
Great.
I bring the biggest, like essentially have your Endgame Avengers Assemble scene, but with all the X-Men characters. That would be so dope.
I bet you they will. I bet you they will.
Yeah.
I mean, oh boy, that's exciting. You're getting me all worked up. I'll tell you real quick, just to segue into that. I don't know. Have you watched or are you a fan of Fallout?
No, I've heard. I actually just heard of Fallout the other day, and I have not watched it. Is it good?
So I've been playing Fallout since Fallout 3.
So it's a video game.
I'm a closet Fallout junkie. You do not need to play the video game to enjoy this series. I watched 8 episodes over like a week and a half span. I watched the first episode, then 2 and 3, then 4 and 5, and then I was like, all right, let's just watch all of them. And it was amazing.
Oh, is it every episode out?
Every episode is out. Every episode is out.
I'm definitely it's on my list. I'm definitely going to check it out. So it's good to get a recommendation on it.
Yeah, go check out that. Anyone watching, if you're not familiar with Fallout, go check out Fallout.
What is that? So it is a video game then?
It is a video game, yeah. And they've now adapted into a series.
What is like the main gist of the video game or the show then?
Nuclear war.
No. All right.
The year is 2076. But it's not the 2076 that you would think would look in the future, let's say 700 years. I'll just leave it at that because it's really interesting. Right? It's the future, but it's not the future. You'll check it out. You'll see it. You'll like it. I believe you will.
All right. I know. It's definitely. I'm watching a couple of their shows, and as soon as those wrap up, I'll definitely pivot over to that. It's so awesome. Yeah, glad to hear that. That's good. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah, Joseph. As we cross the hour here, we can wrap this up. Why don't we real quick? Again, thanks again for coming on, and always love having you on and hearing about where the collection's going. I can't wait to have you on again and see where you've gone and where you're getting to. Like it's always fun to catch up. Real quick, why don't you tell people where they can find you? Where all about you, and then we'll let it go.
Yeah, Wolverines _comic shop on YouTube, eBay, Shortbox, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, same handle everywhere. You can also check out wolverinescomicshop.live. That has all the social media there. Comic book buyer, seller, trader, doesn't matter, cards, anything Marvel, DC related. Stop on by on the YouTube channel. We have over 500 unboxings now. The shorts are kicking up. I love doing shorts, man.
And I will tell you
that I got.
Everyone that has a channel, we all do unboxings. I think my favorite is yours, where you do the cardboard drop. I just love seeing that. Like I love it. It's so good.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. I'm happy I came up with it. Came up with it. And these new shorts where I'm able to kind of show the original book, what it looked like, and then the aftermath, which is a CGC signature series, signing. So it's been really cool. I welcome all of you guys to stop on, send me a DM on Instagram, and I'd love to connect and help you guys build out your collections.
Right on. All right, everyone. Thanks for taking a listen. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll put all of Joseph's link information in the description. We will see you on the next one. Peace out.